Everyone thinks the AI race is about algorithms, about who has the best model or the fastest chip. But here's the uncomfortable truth. AI isn't running out of ideas, it's running out of electricity. Right now, the biggest threat to AI progress isn't silicon. It's power grids that weren't built for this scale, energy systems that can't expand fast enough, and a world discovering that the compute doesn't exist without electrons. The next winners in AI won't just design better chips, they'll secure the power to run them. Hello and welcome back to Chips Weekly by Diana. I'm Diana and today we are talking about a crisis that's quietly becoming the defining constraint of artificial intelligence. For years, AI scaled on compute. More GPUs, more data centers, more capital. But now, the bottleneck has shifted. Electricity, grid capacity, cooling, and energy infrastructure are becoming the real gatekeepers of AI growth. This episode explains why power, not algorithms, will decide who wins AI, how close we are to the limit, and what solutions might actually work. Let's start with the scale of the problem. Modern AI is extraordinary energy intense. A single high-end AI data center today can require 100 to 300 megawatts of continuous power, roughly equivalent to the electricity consumption of a city with hundreds of thousands of residents. Training a frontier-scale AI model can consume tens of gigawatts hours of energy. That's enough electricity to power thousands of homes for an entire year, just to train one model. According to International Energy Agency, global data center electricity demand could double by the end of this decade, with AI workloads responsible for the majority of that growth. And this demand isn't smooth. AI clusters turn on all at once. They draw power continuously. They don't wait for off-peak hours. Grids were never designed for this. Electrical grids are slow to change. Building a new power plant takes years. Upgrading transmission lines can take a decade. Permitting loan can outlast entire AI product cycles. Meanwhile, AI data centers are being planned, built, and filled in under 2 years. In parts of United States, Europe, and Asia, utilities are already telling hyperscalers the same thing. We don't have the capacity. The data center projects are being delayed not because of chips, but because there is no guaranteed power connection. Others are being forced to self-generate electricity at enormous cost. This creates a new kind of competition. Not for GPUs, not for talents, but for the grid access. Ironically, better chip accelerates the crisis. AI accelerators have become more powerful, but also more power dense. A single modern AI server rack can draw tens of kilowatts, sometimes exceeding what older facilities were ever designed to handle. High bandwidth memory, fast interconnects, and dense packaging all increase energy intensity. Even efficiency gains don't solve the problem because demand is growing faster than the efficiency improves. This is known as rebound effect. When compute becomes more efficient, people simply use more of it. So, AI doesn't slow down, it pulls harder on the grid. Electricity is only half of the story. Cooling consumes power too, and often water. Large AI data centers can use millions of liters of water per day for cooling, depending on design and climate. As water stress increases globally, this becomes a political issue. not just engineering one. That's why some regions are now rejecting new data centers outright, not because they hate technology, but because they can't support it sustainably. Energy, water, and compute are now inseparable. Power constraints don't affect everyone equally. Companies that control their own power generation, long term energy contracts, or favorable grid access gain a structural advantage. This is why hyperscalers are racing to sign decade long power purchase agreements, invest in energy infrastructure, and co locate data centers near generation sources. This is only why governments are getting involved. AI capability is increasingly tied to national grid resilience, energy independence, and infrastructure policy. In the AI era, electricity is no longer neutral, it's strategic. There's no single fix, but several paths are emerging. First, massive grid investment. Modernizing transmission, increasing capacity, and accelerating permitting are essential, but slow. Second, energy aware AI design. Models optimized for efficiency, sparse computation, and lower precision reduce power demand per task. Third, geographic optimization. AI workloads are increasingly placed where energy is abundant, near hydro, nuclear, or large renewable sources. Fourth, on site power generation. Some data centers are pairing directly with power plants, batteries, or dedicated renewable installations. Fifth, edge and distributed compute. Not all AI needs to run in hyperscale facility. Moving inference closer to users to reduce centralized workload. And finally, the most radical idea, taking compute off the planet, where energy and cooling constraints are different altogether. Not a replacement, but a pressure valve. The winners of the AI era won't just be cheap designers. They'll be companies that think like infrastructure operators. Those who integrate silicon, energy, cooling, and geography into one strategy. AI leadership is becoming less about software brilliance and more about who can keep the lights on. Here's the reality: AI is no longer limited by imagination, it's limited by infrastructure, power, not algorithms. May decide who leads the next decade of intelligence. So let me ask you, do you think the solution to AI's power crisis is better grids, better chips, better energy policy, or something entirely new? Tell me what you think in the comments. And if you found this episode valuable, like, subscribe, and share with your network. And as always, stay curious, stay sharp, and stay chip aware.